All right, hello everybody. My name is Eddie. We're gonna talk about what is strengths, what's the point of strengths, and how do we use our strengths consistently. Now, when I'm gonna use the word consistent a lot, because during this training here, I'm actually gonna talk about what is it that keeps us from being consistent with everything we do, and then how do we use our strengths to power through that. So, for those of you that don't know me or maybe somehow found on my page, my name is Eddie Villa. What I do is I help people. I help entrepreneurs, I help moms, I help dads, I help a lot of different people to be their best selves with everything they do. And how I do that is by helping them understand their strengths instead of comparing themselves to other people. And what I've learned in my many years of coaching thousands of people is that we can spend our times trying to be something we're not, or we can really go all in with what we're already good at and get what we want. And so ultimately here during this training, I'm going to go over what is strengths, how does it work, how is it going to benefit you, why do you have to get your strengths immediately, how can you start using them to get what you want. Before I do this, I always do this before I do a training. I'm going to ask you to get clear about something that you want to see happen right now. Think about something you want to see happen in your health, your relationships, or your money, whatever that matters to you right now that you're really kind of nervous about. And what I'm going to do during this training is teach you what is it you need to do to get that by just being who you are. So first, before we even begin, I always ask this again. I'm just going to ask again. Let's go into, I'm going to share my slides and I'm going to be here on the screen, which is going to look kind of fancy. So I'm hoping this works out really well. Bear with me a minute. Okay, cool. So, okay. So bear with me. I just kind of learned how to do this on Zoom. So if it looks kind of funky, give me a moment. So for you, get clear, get real selfish. Okay, get really selfish. I really want you to ask yourself, what do I want? Please get selfish, because the more selfish you get about what it is you want, then you'll find during this training that when you're focusing on getting what you want, you're going to simultaneously help those that you care about. Okay, it's not always, we don't always have to sacrifice what we care about in order to help others. Sometimes helping others is best done by focusing on giving us what we need so we can be of more service to others. So here it is, friends. What is it you want? And I got to be honest with you, this was not a question that was easy for me to answer a long time ago. Back in 2011, I was fired from a large corporation. And I went to a different company doing the same business, and I got fired there too within about 60 days. So it was a rough patch. And as I'm walking home to tell my wife that I've been fired again, hoping, praying to God that she doesn't leave me. And at this time, we had 5 children. I started to realize a painful reality was that I have put my value in other people's hands. I have chosen to believe that other people are in charge of what is good about me or how much value I have to offer. And that's when I realized that trying to get another job with another company was just going to create more of that. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to know who I am. What is it I offer? What can I actually do for people? How has God created me different than anybody else? That will allow me to be my best self so I can just like stop giving into what everyone else needs and start focusing on my needs so then I can be of more service and value to others. The worst thing I ever did was try to make everyone around me happy. So this is why this question was so hard for me to answer. And I almost guarantee that you are watching this right now struggling with this question because you spend more time worrying or believing you know what other people want and trying to help them. And for those of you that have ever been on an airplane, know that when they're describing the safety features, they always tell you that when the masks drop, you've got to put your mask on first. And the reason is because you're of no help to others when you're not being your best self. That's what this training is about, is what causes you to be that. And how do we get back into being your best self consistently? And the more consistent you are with being your best self, the more consistently you get the things that really matter. So here it is, friends. What is it you want? If this is a hard one, think of something measurable that you want to see happen, whether it's more money or better health. What would that look like? Stronger relationships. Maybe you're married and you want to see you and your spouse go on more date nights. Maybe you have a family member who you've disconnected with and you want to see the two of you get connected again. Maybe you have a business right now that you want to see grow and more people coming into your programs or services. Maybe you just want to finally just stop feeling overwhelmed so easily and start moving consistently with boldness. Maybe you want to stop holding back. Maybe you want to maybe you have something important that you know is true, that you know that if you shared it with others and they genuinely accepted it, they would actually benefit from it. But maybe you want to stop holding that back out of fear of how it's going to be judged or how you might look, right? These are some of the things that I get from people consistently. And for me, the biggest thing that I just wanted to feel like who I was mattered. That's not measurable, but it did lead me to a measurable result, which was I chose to believe that if I could generate a business that put $1 million in my bank account, allowed me to do things like buy a house or buy a car or even pay off something, I felt like if I could do something that made that kind of money, then I know that would be built on offering something that would help people. And if it helped people, then I would have no reason to stop or hold back. I would go all in. And since embracing my strengths, I was able to create two things with my wife. The first thing with my wife was a network marketing business that put us into multiple six figures. We had at one point, we had over $9 million in monthly volume coming into our business. So our network marketing business, we had about 300,000 people underneath us. And then that allowed me to kind of launch this coaching business, which is called Unleash Your Strengths, that allowed me to have some pretty powerful freedom financially. It actually paid for two houses and allowed us to start creating some freedom to teach my kids even how money works and so on. And again, it's not to brag, just to help you understand that for me, the success of my business must be built on making a difference, actually doing something that provides value for people. That's what we're here for. Okay, this is my desperate attempt to be of value and service to you. So I'm going to ask you to accept it and realize you have that too. So now that we're done on that, let's move on. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about strengths. And if you haven't taken the strengths assessment yet, let me give you some information that might entice you. So first off, this is what's awesome about strengths. There are right now about, when I did this, there was about 7.7 billion people on the planet. I wrote this training about a couple of years ago. So there was 7.7 billion people on the planet at the time. But here's the important thing. When you take their strengths assessment, there's chances that somebody will have the same strengths as you. And this is what I wanted to know. I wanted to understand how this worked. So if everyone were to take the strengths assessment, the chances that you and someone else would have the same top five, remember you have 34, the same top five is 1 in 280,000. That means that roughly out of 8 billion people, we're looking at about 30,000 people that would have the same top five, but in scrambled order. The chances that someone has the same exact top five in the exact same order, like for example, as you, and yes, the order does matter. The order is very crucial, which we'll talk about in a minute, is about 1 in 33 million. So that means that roughly 300, you and about 300 people, including the babies, right? The little babies of the world, would have the same top five in the exact same order. So let's keep going because there's more. If the chances of you and another person having the same top six in the same order is about 1 in just under a billion, just under a billion to 1 chance that you and another person would have the same top six. We're looking at you and maybe 8 to 10 people, okay? So by now you're starting to see that the world is getting pretty small very quickly with strengths. This is what attracted me to strengths, because this right here, so the chances that another person has the same top 7 as you in the same order is massively more than 8 billion to 1. And that means that you're different than anyone on the planet right here, right? You're different than anyone on the planet, just from the top 7. The chances of another person having the full 34 as you is gargantuanly more than 130 billion to 1. Way more. And so Here's an interesting fact. I'm going to shrink myself here to show you. By the year 2050, they estimate that there will have been about 130 billion people ever born. And the chances that any one of those 130 billion people having the same strengths as you is non-existent. It's impossible. So this means, friends, that you are different than anyone ever. Okay, I want you to like let this sink in because there is a joyful responsibility that comes with this. You are different than anyone that's ever been, ever. You have similarities, but fundamentally you're different. This means you have different values, different rules, different perspectives. You see things differently just from the day you were born. Then from the day you were born up until now, maybe in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, whatever, all of that time you're creating or experiencing, you're having experiences that are different than anybody that's ever had them. So with those two, your infinitely unique strengths and your infinitely unique experiences mean one thing, that you are infinitely unique and can't be duplicated. You are different. You have something the world needs because no one in the world has or will ever have it. I'm going to put the pressure on, friends. You are something the world needs because the world has never or will ever have it. You are it. And this time you have been chosen to bring that to the world. And my goal is to help you unleash it. That's why I call my business Unleash Your Strengths. So you are infinitely unique and cannot be duplicated. I want you to write that down. Please own it. It's true. It's factual. This is not an opinion. This is not some uplifting message I'm trying to share. This is truth and this is fact and it's proven. This right here, my next statement is my favorite. The people that you follow, the people that you learn from, the ones you get inspired by or otherwise look up to, those people are also infinitely unique. Wow, what do you mean? So what that means is that when we compare ourselves to others, it's irrelevant. It's pointless. We can stop and look at other people and go, oh, they're more beautiful, they're more organized, they're more structured, they're more disciplined, they're happier, they know what's going on, they know what. Well, the reality is, and I have proof of this too, that they have top strengths just like you. They also have bottom strengths just like you. And just like you, they have issues. And what I want you to know, that comparing yourself to anybody is irrelevant. And the reality is that when people tell you what to do, they're not telling you how to do it your way. They're only telling you how they do it. And your job is to, when you're learning how to do something, figure out what needs to be done. And I want you to do it your way because they don't show you how to be you. That's what you're here for. So here's a couple of statements here, the golden rule. This is what I call the golden rule of strengths. Never forget it because somebody always forgets it during my trainings. Chances are you will too. So I want you to write these down or take a screenshot of it. Let me make myself small so you can make it look better. So take a screenshot of this if you need. So here's the golden rule. Strengths has nothing to do with what you can't do. So you can't look at your strengths reports and go, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. That's not actually in there. Strengths has everything to do with how you do everything your way and it works, but only 100% of the time. Your top 10 strengths are where you are influential, you're creative, you're productive, and you connect with others. Your bottom 5 are where you go when you choose to believe that who you are is not enough, or you compare yourself to others, and you become someone who holds other people back, turn people off, you become boring, unproductive, and you disconnect from others. This is the opposite of what we're trying to do to be happy. Let me share with you this visual that was shared to me when I first got introduced to strengths. Imagine you're a star, this star here, okay? And you got these high points and low points. And these high points represent talents or strengths, the things you're good at, whether it's listening to people or organizing or learning or studying or being there for your others, whatever strength you have, these are your strengths. And these here, we can call them weaknesses, okay? And what we were spent, a lot of us spend our life doing is when we compare ourselves to others, we focus on the things that we're not, which is these red ones. And then we choose to believe that we can actually improve them. So we work on them. And because we don't really know when to stop, how many of you all go, all right, I'm going to work on my weakness for 1 hour only, and then I'm going to spend the rest of my day focusing on my strengths. The reality is that we don't do that. We work on our weaknesses until we feel better. And guess how often that happens? So we end up focusing on them so much, we neglect our strengths, and this is what happens. So our weaknesses start to improve and our strengths start to go away. And we go from the star to looking like this. So I'm going to breathe here for a second and I'm going to stop. And I'm going to allow your brain to unswell a bit. And I want you to look at this and tell me, what does this mean to you? What does this mean to you? If this process, is this something you recognize? Is this something you recognize? Because this right here, friends, is the heart of inconsistency. By consistently focusing on where we are weakest, we create inconsistency. I want you to think hard about what this means to you, because we're going to talk about how to stop this nonsense and how to start going back to what we're already good at. So let's move on. Okay, so what keeps us from creating everything we want? These are the two reasons. The reason is hesitation, and it comes in two forms. What happens is when you want to do something and you want to be consistent with it, we are inconsistent because we hesitate. And the reason we hesitate is, one reason is when there's something you want to do, whether it's like lose weight or help or grow a marriage or make more money, whatever it is you want to do, your heart, you will hesitate if there's something that you want to do, but you doubt you can do it by just being you. So many of us are focusing on weaknesses. So what we do is we try to become something that we're not. If you're not structured and organized, you try to become more instead of embracing how you energetically flow. Or maybe you're very organized, but you're not very good in connecting with others emotionally. So you try to feel people's feelings and it literally does not compute, right? And you stop being structured and organized. Or you're highly intelligent and you love to gather information and you think you need to be more productive with it and more executionary with it. And ultimately, the more executionary you become, the less productive and creative you become. So this is what I'm talking about. So you hesitate. And if you hesitate instinctively, then this is a subconscious battle where subconsciously you're already choosing to believe that who you are is not going to work. So you subconsciously cause hesitation. And it's literally like trying to force yourself to be something you're not, is like trying to force your fist through a brick wall, right? Or even biting your own tongue. It becomes almost impossible. Well, the second reason you hesitate is, and I get this a lot from people who will say things like, Eddie, I'm good. I know how to do things. I don't have a problem. It's the people around me that are the idiots, or the people that work with me. They don't do what they're supposed to do. They don't do what they say they're going to do, and blah, blah, blah. Well, for those people, they hesitate as well. And the reason they hesitate is because there's something they want to do, but they fear something important is being risked. For example, if you've got a lot of relationship building strengths in your top 10, then if you feel like what you need to do will put relationships at risk, you'll hesitate. Even if what you need to do will work, you'll hesitate. If you have a bunch of strategic thinking strengths in your top 10 and you fear intelligence will be risked, you'll hesitate. If you have a bunch of executing strengths and you feel productivity will be at risk, you'll hesitate. Here's proof. If you're watching this video right now and you've got 3 or more executing strengths in your top 10, I guarantee you're doing something else while this is going on. Guaranteed, 100%. 100%. You're doing something else. Why? Because you're fearing productivity is being risked when you're doing this. And what's that doing is it's causing you to divide your attention. That's very unproductive, but here you go. Hesitation, right? Just an example. All right, let's move on. So what fuels the hesitation? What makes it so that we constantly keep hesitating? This is the rule that I want you all to understand, the reality of. Everything that you create, right? Whether it's more money, better health, stronger relationships, it's only a result of what you do consistently. So if you do something consistently, you'll get the result. If you don't, you get a different result. It's that simple. Everything you do is a result of how you feel consistently. So if you feel aligned, you feel focused, you feel energized or whatever, right? Then you'll do things consistently and then create the results you want. If you feel off, you feel fearful, you feel doubtful, you feel unsure, you feel uncared for, unloved, unsupported, whatever, then you will do things that are in alignment with those feelings and thus create the results that you don't want. Hello, you know this, but I'm waking you up. Here we go. Now, if your doing is off, then your feeling is off. And if your feeling is off, then it's because your thinking is off. That means that everything you feel comes as a result of how you think. So if you are convinced in your mind that you don't have enough time, or the people around you won't support you, and you have all of this proof, then your thinking causes feeling that leads to doing what you are creating results for right now. This is not acceptable anymore. The way you think needs to change so that you feel differently, do differently, and that's where you start creating new results. This is what I'm good at. This is what I do. I'm going to instill strengths into your brain so much that you have there's nothing you can do other than to believe in you. That's my goal. So what you think is at the mercy of everything you hear, everything you surround yourself with and consume. And that's my job. My job is all I do all day long on social media, on my email list, videos and YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. All I do is pour uplifting messages into you to remind you that you are amazing. I have proof and nobody can fight me on that. I will win every time because God's on my side. God's made you a fantastic human being. And all we want to do is constantly think that way so that we feel that way and do that way. And you start creating results that you want, that you deserve. So first, my friends, always surround yourself with people who talk the way you want to think. Huge. I want to be that for you. So here's where your strengths come in. The antidote to hesitation. You want to start getting consistent. This is how we begin. All right. So what you're going to notice that each of your top 10 strengths has these domains in it. This relationship building, influencing, executing, strategic thinking. And what you need to do right now is go through your top 10 and find out how many of these are in your top 10, right? Do you have a bunch of strategic thinking strengths? How many of them? How many of these executing strengths are in there, right? Like I'll move out of the way if you need it. So how many of these executing strengths? How many of these influencing strengths are in there? How many of those relationship building strengths are in there? I want you to count right now. And if you're watching this online or if you're watching this in a Zoom meeting, whatever, let me know in the comments, how many of these do you have in your top 10? And by the way, if you only have one of like 5 or 6 of them, awesome. If you've got to spread out, great. It's all good because you work. Who you are works. It works just fine. So do that right now. Make sure you have a list right now of how many of these you have in your top 10. Now, let's talk about this one right here. If you have 3 or more of these relationship building strengths in your top 10, this is going to be the first thing you're going to do to stop hesitating. You're going to choose to do everything in a way that honors this desire right here, to connect with the right people. That's what you get to do. If you have 3 or more of these strengths right here in your top 10, right now, the first thing you should be doing to create the results you want is figure out who are the right people and go connect with them. I'll give you some examples. My daughter mentors and coaches and helps freshmen that are coming into the college that she's a kind of like a mentor for. And one of the things she recognizes is if they're a relationship builder, what should they do? And after talking with this one student, she was sharing the story with me the other day. This student realized he doesn't need to know everything about everything. He just needs to go make friends with people that are in his classes. And when he goes makes friends with people in his classes, he learns from them. He connects with them. He gets productive and creative with them. So that's a really fantastic example. If you're trying to grow a network marketing business or a coaching business, who are the people you're trying to serve? Connect with them. Who are the people that do what you do? Connect with them so you can learn how they do it. Who are the people you want to become like and get better around? Start connecting with them. For me, I only have one of these in my top 10, but I have realized the importance of build relationships with people. So important, right? So connect with the right people. For those of you that have 3 or more of these influencing strengths in your top 10, the desire that you need to honor with everything you do is to move people forward. What that means is find out who are the people you want to move forward, right? Let's move over. Let's move over here a little bit. Who are the people you want to move forward? Who are the people that you want to move forward with? Who are the people that are going to move you forward? And spend your time talking about it, learning about it. Where are we? Where do we want to go? How do we want to get there? And how can we help each other do it? When you are an influencer, especially when you have strengths like significance and self assurance, these are intense, intense strengths, right? Very, very intense strengths. And these strengths are for those that are literally trying to make a difference on the planet. Huge, huge responsibility. Whereas as someone like with woo or activator or communication, they tend to be the louder ones that kind of get everybody going. Okay. All right. So there's the influencers. Do everything in a way that honors this desire. Next one, executing. So if you've got 3 or more of these executing strengths in your top 10, the desire that you want to honor with everything you do is to make sure things are done the right way. That means that you're the checker. You're the one that makes the list. Make sure things are checked off that list. Making sure things are checked off the list on time, on schedule, and the right way. Okay, so executors oftentimes don't appreciate this about themselves because they feel like by being the one who's always telling everybody what to do and being in charge, they don't end up being the most liked one. And I get that, but this is who you are meant to be. You're the one to help others and yourself make sure things are done the right way. This is why people that have, like, for example, belief, oh, let's talk about this one right here. People that have belief tend to be the most stubborn people on the planet, mostly because they are so clear about how things should be done, they just can't violate it. So they have to stand up for it. That's why the belief people are labeled as stubborn, but the reality is we need them because just like a brick wall, we need someone to lean on once in a while. Okay. Let's go to the last one. If you have 3 or more of these strategic thinking strengths in your top 10, then this is the desire that needs to be honored with everything you do so you hesitate less. Think, create, and or learn. This is what you do. You analyze, you theorize, you visualize, you strategize, right? You take complex concepts like the infinitely unique breakdown of a human being, right? And you try to make it easy to understand. So what happens is when you, right, are honoring this desire of thinking and learning and creating, you become more consistent, sharing your knowledge a piece by piece. Okay. I always have to encourage the strategic thinkers to share in bits. If you've got bulk information to share, write a book. Okay. And yes, of course, the world would want to read your book. So this right here is the Unleash Your Strengths book. This is one of 3 books I've written. And then this is also, I've also co-authored a book with somebody, but I've got more books because I've got 3 of these strategic thinking strengths in my top 10. I've got so much information. I've got another book coming out I'll be writing. Anyway, bottom line is that you can get this Unleash Your Strengths book. I actually just charged $20 for this book. And I will ship it for free anywhere in the US. Outside the US, I need you to cover shipping. So all you got to do is send me a message here in Facebook or email me at eddie@usemystrengths.com. That's a good email. And just say, Eddie, I'd like to buy a book. Or if you want to buy multiple books, I'll sign it, put a little note for you, and ship it off. Okay, so just FYI, I'm going to encourage you to, if you've got a lot of these strengths, my friend, start writing. Thanks to AI now, we can take your information, make it easier to digest, and turn it into a book. How cool is that, right? All right, let's move on to the next piece. Let's talk about the strengths proclamation. Right here, my friends, this here is the secret to being consistent. So here's how it works. Take a minute and remember that thing I asked you to do. I said at the beginning of this training, I said, what do you want? Oh, excuse me. I said, what do you want? I asked, what do you want? And I want you to think of that as a measurable. What do you want? I want X money. I want X to happen in my relationship. I want X to happen in my health, whatever. And what you're going to do is you're going to add it to this strengths proclamation. All right, you're going to add it to the strengths proclamation. Let me just make myself real small here. Right up there. Boom. Okay. So in this strengths proclamation, what you're going to do is see where it says do everything. You're going to change do everything to the thing that you want. I love to do this thing. I love to get this thing. I love to have this thing. I love to be this thing, whatever it is. And you're going to put it in that little blank spot or that spot that says do everything. And you're going to say, I love to do that, get that, have that, be that in a way that honors my desire to. And then everything you have three or more of in this row, you just put it in there. So to give you an example, if you have, let's see, if you have 4 relationship building, 3 strategic thinking, and 3 influencing strengths in your top 10, right? 4, 3, and 3, then anything you have 3 or more of goes into this sentence. And you say, and this person, let's say, who has 4 relationship building, see where it says connect with the right people, 4 strategic thinking, right here it says think, create, and learn, 3 influencing, move people forward. So let's say this person who has that combination wants to make $1,000 coaching this week. Okay, I love to make $1,000 coaching this week in a way that honors my desire to connect with the right people, think, create, and learn, and move people forward. That means that what this person needs to do is first connect with the people they want to help, and then learn from those people of what those people want. Then move them forward by finding out where do they want to be, how do they want to get there, where are they right now, and how would they like you to help them. And if you have that combination and you follow that process, there's no more need to hesitate. Hesitation starts to go away because it works. It honors what you care about, and you will know you are enough. This is what's awesome about this proclamation, right? So I want you to put that down now. I love to, and then you put the result that you want in a way that honors your desire to, and then fill in the blanks with these pieces here based on the ones you have 3 or more of, and you'll start to see your actual process closer. Now, this isn't everything, right? But this is the first thing. I want you to understand there's another thing. I'm going to give you an analogy called the hammer and the ham sandwich. When I first wrote my book, I had never written a book before, so I had no proof that I could write a book. I only had something important I felt like I needed to say. So I started to do trainings on strengths that I had loved to do and wanted to do, similar to what you all just got through right now. And I turned it into workshops, and I started to do workshops around the things that I saw needed to be taught. And when I was finally, after I'd done those workshops many, many times, I realized that I had something I could put into a book. And so then I took that structure and I put it into a book. And what I did was I wrote the book the way I would normally write anything. And I just wrote it. And there was so many spelling errors. There was an offensive amount of spelling errors, an offensive amount of grammar errors. And the book itself, the first edition of the book, had Unleash Your Strengths spelled wrong on the spine. A total catastrophe. Yet that book sold 1,000 copies and started my community where I actually had 1,000 people join my Unleash Your Strengths community, a paid community, right? That was one of the first ways I was able to pay for a lot of things, and just by helping people. So what that means is that you don't have to be structured and organized and even spell right in order to sell a book and help people. So, but when I believe that I can't, then I get drained. And what I mean by hammer and the ham sandwich is that I want you to imagine that the thing that you want, I want you to imagine that thing you want being represented as a nail that needs to get driven into a 2x4. So whether you want to lose weight, make better, stronger relationships, or make more money, I want you to imagine driving a nail through a 2x4. And when you know you're enough, you will pick up your hammer, which is your top 10 strengths. When you believe you're not enough, you're going to pick up a ham sandwich, and you're going to try to hold that nail and drive that nail through a 2x4 with the sandwich. And I mean, I want you to imagine the food flying everywhere And it's a total mess. It's painful, it's draining. And if anybody saw you do it, you'd be embarrassed. That's what it's like to use the bottom strengths. So this is how you know you're in your bottom strengths. These bottoms between 34 and 30. Take a look at those bottom strengths. And if you continue to believe you have to be that, this is what you're going to continue to experience. First, you doubt yourself subconsciously. You don't even know it's happening. And it'll happen so fast, you won't even realize it. You've probably been doing this in this training. How many of you right now are starting to go, oh my gosh, this is so much. I don't think I can do this. That's a subject of subconsciously doubting yourself. So it'll happen faster than you're ready to notice. Your energy will be the next thing that'll happen. You'll feel an energy dip. This is why we're exhausted at 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because we've had so much of other people's stupid nonsense that, and it's just basically caused us to dip into our bottom strengths. We've picked up ham sandwiches and we're going to react the way you normally do when you react. So let's have some fun with this. Like, do you do chocolate? Do you do carbs? Do you sleep? Do you scroll on Facebook? Do you watch endless Netflix? Do you do other things that really aren't helpful? For me, and I want everybody to get real here, what is it you do? I used to pick up a bag full of Oreos. I could pound a bag of Oreos like nobody's business. And I didn't realize that what I was doing was I was constantly in my bottom strengths. And that's why I would eat crap. So what did you do? What do you do? Do you go to the refrigerator? Do you find yourself getting productive around things that actually don't help you? Executors will oftentimes clean the house instead of facing someone that they need to talk to, right? Influencers will often go live on Facebook about nothing instead of get to work getting structured and more organized. This is just an example. So what happens is when you dip into your bottom strengths, you will act inauthentically. Again, you'll hold others back, become invisible, unproductive, and disconnect. And what this does is it causes you to make others feel you or others become uncomfortable, angry, or even worse. And so the goal here is to really understand what your top strengths are, how to use them, what your bottom strengths are, how to let go, right? How to let go of those. How to let go, my friends. And the way you let go is simply by saying, I don't have to. Take a look at a bottom strength and say, I don't have to. So let me go ahead and wrap this up now. And I'm going to just do a little summary so we remember. Your top 10 strengths are where you are your best self. Your bottom strengths are where you become something you don't want to be and it doesn't work. Ultimately, the reason why we hesitate is because we just doubt who we are is enough, or we worry who we are is too much. And we've spent too much time trying to be something we're not. So here's my call to action for you. If you haven't already done it, get this book, the Unleash Your Strengths book. Take your strengths assessment, okay? I get a $10 discount and I'll happily extend that $10 discount to you if you're interested. Get this book. And then what I want you to do is message me privately and work with me. One of the things I love to do is take people through a proven 12-week system that has you in just 12 weeks completely change everything about how you think about you, which changes everything you do. And you can focus this on growing a business. So I can actually teach you how to use your strengths to be more influential. You can use this to improve your marriage, which means that you and I and your spouse will work together on understanding your strengths so that you can grow your marriage more powerfully. We can also use this to improve your health, your mental, your spiritual, your physical health, which will result in you being able to grow anything else that you want to do, even develop a stronger connection to God, which is what I was called here to do. So my friends, with that being said, I hope this helped you out. In the comments, I want you to ask questions, message me privately for if you want more help, or if you just want to order this book and get this shipped to you. If you want me to share this with you and any groups that you know that need this information, I am available. My goal is to make a difference in the world with this. I have a brand new tool that's going to be coming out very soon that, to me, I believe is going to be the way that I'm going to be able to get strengths into 8 billion homes, or 8 billion people's lives, I should say. There's 8 billion people. So with that being said, have an awesome day, and we'll see you all on the next training.